What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and no, this isn't Deja Vu. We are looking at another mask game that does even start by me picking up a turn 1 Fanny, and the similarities do not stop there. This game winds up having a lot of similarities to the last game, a few differences too. We take a Wizard's Familiar on the second turn rather than being able to pick up a Cinderella, but Wizard's Familiar also has some mask synergies, and then we're also able to pick up this Humpty Dumpty. Yeah, it was just really interesting. You'll see how similar this game potentially winds up being at some points to the other mask game that I played and showed off earlier today. But indeed, these are two separate games. Like I said in the previous game, I do like Fanny because I think there's like a decent chance that, well, dwarves are just strong, right? And you can always just wind up playing dwarves. And my opponent's actually going to crack my Humpty Dumpty here, which is a little bit annoying, but at the very least, the Forbidden Fruit still saved us some health because it meant that we didn't die. I guess I'll go ahead and cast the Shrink spell here. So the main thing with the Shrink spell does is it powers up the Wizard's Familiar again, but this shop isn't looking too great for us. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to buy and sell the 3 blind mice just to get it out of here, kind of cycle through it. And then I might like lock the happy little tree just so that way we can get a little bit of value from the Shrink Ray. I think that there are definitely some heroes that we could dream into where happy little tree is good for us. So that is basically the reason that I'm locking that one there. Maybe we'll wind up using it. But Kitty Cutpurse is going to get the sleigh, and then the Frog Prince is going to trade with Fanny, and we are able to not take any damage this combat as well. Let's start off by ripping another It Was All a Dream, and then we are going to see that we get to pick Skip yet again. And that is where kind of I was saying these games both had a lot of similarities. So now we'll be able to pick up this 1-cost Happy Little Tree, and I will pick up the Romeo this time. I did bring this up in the last video, but if you are skipping, Romeo's pretty good. It gives you some additional, a 5-3 is just pretty big, and then we are going to be able to find Juliet's potentially as soon as next turn. So that can be really strong. Just get a bunch of stats on the board and allow us to stay crushing it in these early lobbies. But our board isn't that weak. The Fanny isn't really doing anything. I mean, we're just like toast if Merlin casts an Earthquake here. So really hoping that we don't see that. Really don't want to see like Black Cats or anything. Of course, we do have double Mad Mim, so things could go south kind of quick, and we are going to attack into a Black Cat there. So we're definitely going to be losing this one, and I guess we will also be taking, 7 damage in the process, down to 31. But now we get to Dream again, and now we're Skip plus Dream, and then we'll figure out what the plan is from there. So Nutcracker in the shop, that's pretty interesting. Pollywoggle 2. I always just like to take a look at the shop, but I do think that it is worth dreaming right away. And right away, we see King Midas yet again. And honestly, I do think, like, the last video and game did go very well for us. By the way, spoilers, it was Mask into Skip into Midas. But we just played that one. So really, for that reason alone, I think I don't want to pick up the King Midas here. I'm eyeing up the board, and we could really make Fallen Angel work this turn. We were planning on picking up Pollywoggle and Nutcracker anyways, and that actually allows us to get both of the buffs from the Fallen Angel after we take out the Fanny and the Wizard's Familiar, which are neutral units. So I think that this is pretty strong for us, all things considered, and I just didn't want to play another game that was so similar back to back. We possibly could have outdone ourselves because we would have had a slightly better, like, we're practiced now in playing skip Midas games, and we would have had a little bit better of an idea of what to look for and what to do. But I like to mix it up. I like to try to play different types of games and things on the channel, and that is going to mean that for this one we wind up playing a Fallen Angel game. And unfortunately we were not able to get the Polywoggle Sleigh, but there's definitely a lot of ways to improve this board still from here. Sporko is quite good in terms of being a replacement for Mad Mim, a 5/5 ranged unit, much better than just a 2/5 unit. And I think I do like picking up another Happy Little Tree because we could potentially triple that. And I like the Merlin's Test too. Try to get the Nutcracker online just a little bit sooner and do something with that. I miscalculated and thought that I needed to sell Mad Mim in order to pick up the Happy Little Tree, and I just totally didn't notice that, but I don't think that it is going to be too big of a deal in the long run, all things considered. Hopefully we can still slay with this Polywoggle sometime soon, get a tier 5 unit, and just continue to play a strong board, do what we can here. So 50-50 to get the Polywoggle Sleigh. We are going to miss on that, though. And still a strong board, all things else considered. We are going to get the Nutcracker treasure, and then we are going to defeat this Jax Giant. Which also means we get to keep the Merlin's Test. Not a huge deal, but still definitely nice. And definitely some options here. I think Coin of Sharon is probably the best for our current board, just because we've got a lot of things that we'd like to die and give +4/+4. Happy Little Tree, Kitty Cut Purse, and Polywoggle all definitely have some benefit from that. Juliet would have some benefit too, but Coin of Sharon seems pretty good. And then I'm thinking I might even want to play 2 Happy Little Trees, basically on the 4.2 turn. I'm not as excited to pick up a 5-drop. I'd rather hold off on the Polywoggle and maybe get a 6-cost unit next turn. So that is kind of the plan here. And Chupacabra, you can see the synergies or similarities from the last game really did not stop there. I do think that when you are skipping, Shoulder Fairy is a pretty good option, and we certainly have some of the means in order to put together some Shoulder Fairy-esque comps here. So that is kind of the idea that I am looking at. We can cast Stone Skin, does help Shoulder Fairy in the future, but it also just gives us a ton more stats. But I also kind of want to put it on the Happy Little Tree because Happy Little Tree will eventually have more health than the Nutcracker, and I'd like to prepare for that eventuality by or in helping to set us up for a big Shoulder Fairy. So that is kind of the thought process here. Like I said, this game is very similar to the last one, which is why I thought it would be a little bit weird to do like full commentary on both, and hopefully just this one will suffice. I'm going to get another win against Jedi Chuck, and then we're looking for Shoulder Fairies, and we're also pretty dang happy to pick up a Happy Little Tree right here. Not super happy for any of these treasures. I think this one's a skip. Yeah, don't really want Crown because it could mess up with the Fallen Angel. Don't really need the ring, still at 31 health, and the Econ could be good. So I'm thinking the Candy Rain is pretty decent here. Gives the Happy Little Tree +1/+1, and then I will put the Polywoggle in. Like I said, I do want to play the Polywoggle on this turn because I want to, or I guess what I'm getting at is I'm not going to play the Shoulder Fairies this turn because I want to, obviously I'm going to change that in a second. I want to play the Polywoggle, and then I still want to get the full Fallen Angel bonus. However, once I find the second Polywoggle, that kind of makes me change my mind. Once I find the second Polywoggle, then I'm kind of like, well, maybe I want to triple this Polywoggle. I feel like I could potentially have the time to do so. So I'm going to bench both of the Polywoggles, and this is my lineup specifically to kind of make the best use of the Coin of Sharon, but I do think that this is a pretty solid way to stack my units. So I'm getting +4/+4 on the Chupacabra now. Either way, I was going to get additional attack on the Chupacabra, either from its slaying or from the Coin of Sharon. So either way, that works out pretty well. We still get the slay with the Kitty Cut Purse, so that is pretty nice there too. And then we still get the win against Geppetto. So I'm feeling pretty good, feeling like we'll want to potentially pick up some shoulder fairies. You can see this was from when Pumpkin was on 5. So there are going to be pumpkins in the lobbies of the videos that I roll out over the next week or so, but I'm not going to be the main pumpkineer. We already have one Grim Soul. I don't really need to buy another. Do kind of like the Baba Yaga with the Chupacabra stuff that I've got going on. That could be better than the Sporko. Might want to sub that out eventually. But what I really want to do is find another Polywoggle. So I'm going to feed Mad Mim to the Kraken and give her another roll and find a Kitty Cut Purse. Also find a Lancelot, but then I find the Polywoggle. So going to sell Romeo and ditch the good buff momentarily. And then pick up a Runestones. Yeah, this game is looking quite similar to the last one in a number of ways. We'll see if we can get a little bit more of an interesting Tier 7 treasure, though. Grimsoul plus Polywoggle is pretty cool. I am debating here, like, I want to frontline the Grimsoul so that way it can more likely slay on the Polywoggle, but I don't want to give it the Coin of Sharon buff. So I think it's going to wind up getting the Coin of Sharon buff regardless as this Frog Prince attacks into it. And I didn't think about this, but I've got a whole bunch of other slay units. So that's going to make it a little bit more tough for this Polywoggle to transform. I either have to not play these other slay units or I have to not play the Polywoggle. So that's definitely a decision that I need to make right now. Do want to pick up the Baba Yaga because Baba Yaga plus Chupacabra is going to be good eventually, but for this combat, I am not going to be playing any slay units other than Polywoggle. Really want to get that Polywoggle online and get an upgraded Tier 6 unit before we are too late in this game. Wind up doing some more rolls, and then I find a Lancelot, which I can sell my golden chicken to pick up, and then it's like, well, this is another slay unit. Do I really want to play that? But I think it's pretty good. So I think I should at least pick up the Lancelot. Maybe I won't use it just yet. Maybe I will, though. I have to decide, like, how risky I want to get in terms of trying to go for this Grimsoul. Almost played Shoulder Fairies without the Happy Little Tree, which wouldn't have had too much stats on it. Honestly, there are a lot of different ways to play this board. You could cut all of your slay units, or you could play all of your slay units. I think ultimately I'm just trying to go for playing my most powerful board. By not playing the Kitty Cut Purse in the back row as well, we also open ourselves up to some other nice things. Namely, so what should happen... Oh, I'm locking for Riverwash Mermaid? That's kind of interesting. What like ideally could happen here, hopefully these dragons avoid the Polywoggle. Okay, phew, that was close. And then Grimsoul gets attacked and Polywoggle does transform. So that is pretty nice. We are going to lose this combat. But what I was going to say is, like, in an ideal scenario, and I was worried about this opponent being strong, Chupacabra attacks and dies, Lance attacks and dies, and then the Grimsoul dies, and at that point the other units are gone. Why it was tricky last turn is the Kitty Cut Purse was also in the back, so that was kind of just asking for trouble, but it all works out in the end, and we get an Ashwood Elm upgraded as our Tier 6 unit. So that is going to be quite a strong unit, and does probably push us back into trees. I was considering abandoning the trees, trying to grow Lancelot as our high health unit, but it does seem like we will probably pick up some trees now if we can find them. We'll go for a Candy Rain here that does not throw additional stats on the Ashwood Elm because it did transform in combat. Then I kind of am interested in Dreaming again. We don't have any, like, I don't know. We're still heavily making use of our hero power because we're playing 3 evil units and 3 good units, but the +2/+2 is not like super strong that I really want to lean that heavily into it, and we could find something even more powerful like Horde Dragon or something else that just, well, Horde Dragon's still in this lobby, I guess, but something else that just gives us a little bit more power going forward. So we'll see what we can come up with. Ashwood Elm is getting to make our trees quite large, though. And then Chupacabra is going to slay, and Lance is just barely not going to slay, but we still have a ton of stats that should allow us to win this combat without too big of a problem. So this is going to just barely kill this Merlin here, hit them for 10 when they were at either 9 or 10. It says 9 on the side of the screen, but yeah, I guess they were at 9. So it was all a dream here, and probably should have cleared some room in my hand, but I did not. But Morgan Le Fay is actually really good here. So we're tier 6, we're level 6, and we're at 21 health, which means if we just take a little bit of damage, we will be able to get not a tier 6 treasure, but a tier 7 treasure from Morgan Le Fay. Because of that, I actively don't want to play Lancelot right now because I want to... I don't want to get a tier 5 treasure. What I really want to do is like take some damage, and the main way that we are going to be able to do that is actually going to be by finding a forbidden fruit. So forbidden fruit is super, super powerful right now. If we can find one of those, that will give us a tier 7 treasure, which would just be really sweet. So that is definitely what we are going to be on the lookout for, and we are going to be winning this combat as well against Jack's Giant. I don't mind if we lose, though I'd obviously much rather just win by grabbing that forbidden fruit. We don't really have a great knighthood target. We could cast it on the shoulder fairies, though I don't even know if shoulder fairies is super long for this comp because we have so much tree synergy, and shoulder fairies no longer really works with the tree. So let's do some rolling. Could go for Lancelot or Hercules as well. Hercules also would give a tier 7 treasure, so I do think that Hercules is probably worth trying to figure out in some capacity. And then just playing a bunch of trees, it looks like, after that. So what are we looking for? Forbidden fruit, a bunch of trees. Mix-a-Whizzle could be interesting. Maybe we'll hit some trees. We hit a Robin Wood, so if we can find another Robin Wood, we could sell down for it and pick that up. There's also a Green Knight, which is pretty strong too. And then there's also just this Masquerade Ball, which doesn't seem like the craziest thing in the world. We would get 3 tier 6 units. I don't know. This is kind of a tough one. So do kind of have to figure that out here. But like Green Knight, we could still sell our whole bench for this Green Knight, or I could just roll for Forbidden Fruit. Wind up casting the spell. It doesn't get us too much of anywhere, but I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. Eyeing up the Jormungand because I do still have all of these Baba Yagas, but I think with this upgraded Ashwood Elm, that is the route I want to go to. But it's tough. It's tough, right? Because if we can just triple any tier 6 unit, then we also get a tier 7 treasure. And honestly, the tier 7 treasure is also potentially going to be able to give us a nice little sense of direction there. So we'll see what we can find. We'll take a look. Hercules is also almost online thanks to getting buffed up by the Robin Woods. That is pretty close to completing. And hopefully this Geppetto doesn't scam us too hard with this pumpkin. They are definitely going to... Oh, wait, is this a tie? No, it's a win because we're a ranged unit. Wow, that was a really, really close battle. We hit Geppetto for 7, down to 5. Would really love to triple... I guess we don't even have any triples that we're rolling for. Oh, but then we find the Forbidden Fruit. Round Table, super easy pickup here. Magic Sword's cool, Black Prism's cool. I think both of those are strong treasures. But Round Table is absolutely incredible with Ashwood Elm and just going to be quite strong. So that is the idea, and I do briefly consider, I guess I want as many Ashwood Elms as we can get, actually. So let's sell off these Baba Yagas, buy some more Ashwood Elms. So Healing Potion is interesting with Morgana, because if you can heal and then take damage again, you can get another tier 6 treasure, but the problem is I would have to heal to 21 and then take more damage and go back down to 19. So if I was currently at 20, that would be really, really great if I just had one more life point. But unfortunately, I do not. So I am just going to continue to roll. It also would have lost me a ton of gold on that turn. So I think for that reason, I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to try to get a treasure from the Hercules on this turn. And should be pretty easy. It gets plus 15 from the Robin Wood. So there we go. There is the Herc treasure for us. And this opponent does not look like they're going to be too hard to beat. They just have an Ashwood Elm, but it's a 40-30 Ashwood Elm. So I really don't think this Wonder Waddle is going to be too much of a problem. So we are going to get a tier 6 treasure right now. And Ivory Owl is probably the best with trees. It's also good with Echo Wood, which is definitely a unit that we were looking for. Anyways, we could take the Pandora's Box. I think that that definitely has some merit as well. And most importantly, though, we really want to be picking up this Echo Wood here. So I'm going to sell something. It doesn't really matter what I sell. And then I will roll this potion. And there's some interesting stuff to consider here now. I could go for this. It was all a dream. I kind of like dreaming when I'm playing Mask and just continuing to dream. So that is what we're going to do. And I'm going to dream into Gwen. And unfortunately, I didn't make any extra room in my hand because Gwen is definitely the pickup right now. Knighthooding this Echo Wood is just going to be really strong. So that is what I want to do. And Lancelot also should find some way to get in here because Lancelot plus Robin Wood, when everything else has a whole bunch of attack from these Ashwood Elms, is going to mean that Lancelot gets the Robin Wood trigger. So definitely want to make use of that. And now here is what is going to happen on the round table. The Ashwood Elms are going to give all of my trees, including Echo Wood, plus 60 attack. So everything is going to get a whole bunch of attack, and the Echo Wood is going to get like a crazy amount of attack. It's going to get plus 60 times... Oh, no, it's not 60. It's 100. Yeah. It's 40 times 2 plus 20. So everything's going to get 100 attack. So the Echo Wood is going to go up to 600 attack because it's going to get 100 itself and then 100 from all of the other trees. And then all of the trees are going to round themselves out and give themselves about 100 to 50 health. And then Echo Wood is going to get all of that health as well. So Echo Wood is going to get to some pretty crazy numbers. It's also going to round table out its own health, and you can see quite quickly 600, 666 on the Echo Wood, and then 1,000 health. So that is a pretty juicy unit. I don't even think Cupid will be able to take it out because we wouldn't even be able to take out this huge Echo Wood that we've got on the table. So that's going to be enough to take out this Sadrak, and that combat is over just as quickly as it started. And now we get to upgrade the Echo Wood. We also get a tier 5 treasure, so that is pretty sweet as well. I think I'll take Staff of the Old Toad, try to find some more trees, and then we'll go for Knighthood on this Echo Wood. Now we've got an upgraded Echo Wood, so Now we're going to be looking at some absolutely bonkers numbers, and we'll get to do some pretty crazy things. Robin Wood is really good, a 100-100 ranged unit. Definitely happy to pick that one up. And then I will be rolling, and I believe right now I find another Echo Wood. So I can sell 5 things to pick up this Echo Wood. That's going to be my whole bench plus 1 more unit. I sell the Nutcracker. I think it would have been slightly better to sell the Happy Little Tree, but it's not going to really make too much of a difference. These units are absolutely huge. So I do have to consider that my opponent is playing a Pumpkin Scam, so I do kind of like protecting my Echo Woods in the back line to some extent, because that's going to allow them to play around Medusa. My opponent's still going to have a heck of a time getting around just my frontline units that are all over 100. Yeah, the Echo Woods were able to get even stronger, of course, because of the Ivory Owl, adding some additional stats here. So I do play around with these Echo Wood positionings a little bit before deciding to put a Robin Wood in 1 and a Robin Wood in 5. I do believe I make that change right before the end of the combat. So this kind of like maximizes my range attacks and then also maximizes my Echo Wood and allows my Echo Wood in 2 to potentially just soak up a ton of damage. But let's take a look at these numbers. They're going to get up to 1,500 and 8,000 or 800 attack before the round table, and then the round table is going to give them thousands of defense, 4,000 defense and 3,000 defense. We avoid the Pigo on the Echo Wood. We also avoid the Medusa on the Echo Wood. So it just is going to come down to how many more scams can my opponent pull out. They really need like 5 more scams because all of our units are quite large, but most importantly, they need to scam both of our Echo Woods or they are dead. They get an Ashwood from this first one and a Monster Book, but who is going to attack into the Ashwood Elm? Okay, then the second pumpkin comes out, and this one brings with it just a Monster Book. I don't think that's going to be enough. This Monster Book would have to have 2 Pigomorphs in it, and we are even going to avoid the Ashwood Elm. Oh, no, we do lose our Echo Wood to Ashwood Elm. So losing a rather big Echo Wood there, but it definitely did its job, and then we get to do my opponent in. So there we go. Thought that was a pretty fun one, pretty wacky one, and that was also kind of operating not at full power, because if I wanted a little bit more power, maybe I would have gone for the Midas. But everything wound up working out, and I wouldn't have gotten to get as far of a lead as I did. I wouldn't have been able to find the round table maybe as easily without finding that dream into Morgana. But at the very least, I thought this was a pretty fun game, and getting to do some pretty powerful things with Round Table is always really sweet. That's going to be it for me for this one. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.